if you're a nurse in the UK and you have not heard, you will lose your pin. No, you want to lose your pin? Don't do that, or you will lose your pin. Are you even a nurse? Let me know in the comment section if you are tired of hearing this phrase, you will lose your pin, or protect your pin. No. I am sure you have definitely heard of it. In fact, I am tired of hearing it. To be honest, I am tired. Give me a break. A pin is just like a registration number we get when we pass our licensing exam. So here in the UK, it's called a pin. Unlike some countries, we call it license and all that, but we do call it pin here. So every registered nurse here in the UK has a pin. It's a number that identifies you with the Nursing and Midwifery Council of the UK, and that number licenses you to practice as a registered nurse here in the UK. Hey beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. It's Dale here. Today we will be talking about ways you can protect your pin as an agency nurse and as a bank nurse. Agency shifts and bank shifts are one of the most scary things to do, especially when it's your first time. Don't worry, I have got you covered because I have been an agency nurse for roughly 2 years now, and I think, not that I am overqualified, but I think I can give you some tips that will help you on your first day as an agency nurse, or even if you have been booking shifts. We could always share ideas together. So let me know in the comment section if you have been working as an agency nurse and tips that has helped you to protect your pin or make you feel more confident when you are on agency shifts. I'm not here to teach you how to do your vital signs. I'm not here to teach you how to do your medication rounds. I'm not here to teach you basics of nursing. I assume if you're watching this video, you already know your basics and you are just here to get more information on how to be confident and how to work smartly when you are on your agency shifts or your bank shifts. I'm adding bank shifts because I know that when you are in the UK, the first 6 months you're not allowed to pick up agency shifts, while most NHS hospital or care homes will allow you pick bank shifts when you are 3 months in the job. That's why I'm adding it, but it is the same thing, especially if you are picking up bank shifts in another unit. The truth is you're not in your regular job, so that makes it scary when you go to a new ward or a new unit. So if this looks like something you would love, please make sure to stick to the end, and do not forget to leave a comment telling me about your first agency experience. Now, the first tip I want to give you is make sure that you are competent and confident. Now, competent and being confident is two different things, but they need to go hand in hand. You can be a nurse and you are competent, but you are not confident, and be a nurse that is confident but not competent. But I want you to know that these two must go hand in hand for you to succeed. What I mean by being competent is the fact that you know your deed, like you know your skills back to back. You do not have to know everything. I have not seen any nurse that knows everything. But when you say you are ready to pick up agency shift, you should know 70% or if not 80% of whatever you are doing, especially when you start picking shifts in what you are not familiar with. Be confident in your basic band 5 roles. You all know what your roles are, depending on what unit or what ward you are currently working on, because it's different from someone working in the theaters, it's different from someone working in the medical wards, different from someone working in the surgical ward. So every unit has their basic band 5 competencies that are compulsory for you to be signed off before you even think of picking up bank or agency shifts. Make sure you sign those things off and have a copy of them. Have your portfolio, keep them, because if anything arises, you need to prove that you have been signed off those competencies. As well as the agencies you'll be registering with will definitely ask you to send a copy of your competencies that have been signed off. So you need to be skilled in that area. And when you sign their contract, you are telling them that you are confident in doing these skills anytime, any day. After you have built your competencies, you need to build your confidence. Confidence comes on the job. That's just the truth. You will never be ready for your first shift. That is the truth. Confidence comes as you keep on going for your next shift. Every shift you go builds your confidence as a nurse. I've seen registered nurses 5 years in, they still do not feel confident in their role. So give yourself time, be kind to yourself, learn the things you need to learn and try and build your confidence. Then you'll be ready for your next shift every single time. Then after you've built your competence and confidence, the next thing you want to do is looking for the right agencies. I have a video here about the best agencies you could work for in the UK. I am going to leave the link in the description box. I know most of you have already watched it, but if you've not watched it, please watch it. I'm saying this because agencies play a role in safeguarding your PIN as a nurse. When you're registering with some agencies, some of them do not post you to hospitals that have high CQC ratings. All those things can add up to making your shifts a bad shift. When I mean bad shift, is if you go to a facility where their documentation is poor, you're going to have a poor shift because you have a backlog of a lot of things to cover, and you'll be like, this is not what you are expecting. That is why you need to choose the right agency that will place you in right wards. So after you've picked the right agency and registered with them, the next thing you want to do is to start booking your shifts, right? Now, the first thing you do when you want to book your shift is, what area of nursing are you confident in? You need to start from the ward you are confident and competent in. If you're a medical nurse, please only book shifts, especially your first shift, in medical wards. Example, you are in the gastro ward. Book your shift in a gastro ward, especially your first shift. You don't want to go to a respiratory ward for your first shift. You are going to suffer. You will suffer. I'm not even saying it. When you go, you see machines that you've not seen before and you are shaking. And of course, they will leave you to shake because you signed the contract that you are confident in these things, and you come to the ward and you do not know jack. Let's be honest with ourselves. We know that people are unnecessarily rude to agency staffs, but you need to know that if you book a shift in a ward, you should be at least 50% or even 70% ready for that particular shift in that unit, except they move you to a separate ward, because I know that happens a lot. When you are booked for a shift, you go to the A&E where you booked, and the next thing they tell you, oh, I'm sorry, we don't need you here anymore. We are going to move you to a cardiology ward. In that instance, you have the right to tell them, I'm sorry, I do not have competency in cardiology, so I cannot work in that area. But most of the times, they will not move you to a ward you're not competent in. And they will move you to a similar ward. For example, if you are booked for a cardiology ward and they don't need you there, they can move you to a step-down cardiology ward, or they move you to a care of the elderly, where they know that you can use your basic skills in that area as well. So they don't send you to high specialist areas. For example, you are a ward nurse, they will never send you to ITU because they know you do not have the skills. That's not possible. The highest they can do is to move you to a less stressful area where they know that your competencies can be transferred, your skills can be transferred to that ward. That's what, like rehab wards, care of the elderly, diabetic wards, and those wards where every nurse has competency in that area. Do not even be afraid of that. You need to be very strategic in booking your first shift. I always advise people, when you are booking your first shift, make sure you book a late shift. Now, late shift starts from 1 or 2 o'clock, depending on the ward. From 1 to 2 o'clock, that's when the late shift starts, and the late shift ends by 7 or 8 o'clock. Okay, that period you only have one drug round, which makes it easy for you to blend in. During the late shift, things are already done by the early nurse. During the late shift, you might not have so much to do, so you are not overwhelmed with a lot of things. Because let's be honest, you are going into this place for the very first time. You might not know about their documentation policy. You don't know about their drug round. You don't know about most things. You are basically going for induction, especially if it's your first shift in that hospital or in that ward. You're going for induction, but they expect you to be on the floor and start working immediately. Unlike when you have your regular job, induction is 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and it can go up to 4 weeks. But as an agency nurse going to a new hospital for the first time, your induction is basically 10 to 20 minutes. You are back on the floor, start kicking things up. So that's why I always advise people to make sure you are booking a late shift, or preferably a night shift. Night shifts are calm, and we all know that. So make sure your first shift is a night shift. You go into the ward and get familiar with everything you need to do. When you feel confident in your late shift or night shift, then you can start booking long days or as you want. Another thing I would advise you is to make sure you repeatedly book that particular unit for a long time until you feel confident to swap unit. I'll also advise you to make sure you book bank shift in your hospital in another area first and see how it is. Now, when you book a shift as a bank nurse in your hospital and you go for that shift, they are most likely to support you more because you are a staff nurse in that hospital, but they know that this is not your regular ward. I made a video about me in the anesthetic room. That was more like a bank shift in my hospital. And that shift, they knew that I am not an anesthetic nurse. I work in cardiology. So they allowed me cover a nurse that. Now, when you're getting ready for your first shift, try and make sure you go very early. Give yourself 30 minutes. Your first shift is going to determine a lot of things for you. It's going to make you feel good or make you feel bad, and your first shift is going to give you so much anxiety. The last thing you want to do is to rush down to your first agency shift. You will feel disorganized. Everybody knows that. This is basic tips. You will feel disorganized, but it will be worse when you go very late on your first agency shift. You might even not want to pick up more shifts because of the anxiety you had. Go very early, relax, make yourself oriented to the place, and start your shift. Now, starting your shift, there are loads of things you need to take over from, especially if it is your first time in that hospital or that care home. The first thing you want to take note of is your proper handover. I know that when you're taking handover from your normal ward with staffs that you are familiar with, you could take over in seconds because you already know this nurse and you know that they do their stuff. And I mean, you already know this person, you already know the ward, and you are familiar with everything. But when you go as an agency nurse, take proper handover. I'm sure you already know what I'm trying to explain. When you take proper handover of your patients, check your drug charts, do more checks. Then there are additional checks you need to take over from when you're an agency nurse. The first thing you want to take over is emergency numbers. Every hospital has different emergency numbers. They have on-call numbers whenever there's an emergency or a blip holder for that ward. You need to have that blip number at the back of your mind. You need to take note of all the fire exit points and what to do in the case of emergency. Something that is very common is falls. You need to take note of how they document their falls, how they document their incidents. You want to know their policy because every hospital has different policies. Do not take your hospital policy to another trust hospital policy. You need to know their policy. But the truth is, you will not know everything on your first shift, but know the basic. At least know how to fill their incident form, their day text form, know how to fill that. You want to know how to order medications because you might be doing your drug round and a medication is finished. You don't want to miss, especially critical medications. You want to know where their stock is. Some people order medications online, while some write to the pharmacist, while some email. So it depends on the hospital you're working with, but you want to know their own policy. It's taking over medication is you want to be familiar with how they serve their medication. Mostly they have two ways. We have the EMA and the paper MA chart. The EMA is like online, everything is online. You serve your medication online, you scan your medication and you give your medication. While other hospitals will allow you to sign the paper MA. I don't know why hospitals still have paper MA, but yeah, some hospitals use system. You want to be familiar with that. You do not need to know everything, but please know how to do the basics. And another tip I am going to give you is do not do whatever you're not confident in. Yes, as an agency nurse, they expect you to be competent and confident. But still, if you find out that there's a procedure you need to do and you are not confident in it, or you do not know the exact policy in that trust, please do not do it. It is always better to hand that over or call the senior nurse on duty. Definitely, you will not be alone on duty. I know it is hard to go and ask for help, especially when an agency nurse, but you need to ask for help more than anything. Remember, you do not know these people you are working with. You do not know how that person takes up things. We all know that there are some people in our ward that will report you at every slight mistake you make. And we all know that there are some people that will not really mind. So you are working there for the very first time. You do not know these people. Please make sure that you are asking for help as much as you can. No question is a stupid question. You might look stupid, but they do not have the right to tell you no. If they tell you no, that they cannot help you or assist you in whatever procedure you are going to do, then make sure you are documenting that. And it's always better to leave it undone than doing it wrongly. If you don't take anything from this video, make sure you are taking this out. It is better to leave it undone than doing it wrongly. I don't know if people are aware of the incident that happened about a carer who was asked to look after a patient, and this patient is supposed to be 2-to-1. That means 2 carers is going to look after this patient at every point in time. Now, for some reason, I do not know the full story, but for some reason, carer was the only one looking after this patient, and unfortunately, the patient had a fall. That is fine. Patients have fall every minute, so it is not your fault the patient had a fall. It's not something we can always prevent, except it happened with clear negligence, like you did not put on your bed rails, or you saw the patient sliding and you left the patient to slide and you say, oh, fall will always happen. That's a different case, but unpreventable falls will happen. And when this happens, it's always good to report the incident, call for help, pull the emergency buzzer, let other people come, fill your day text and document everything. So what am I trying to say? If there were two, probably that patient would not have fall. Do not do what you are not confident in doing. If you go into a shift and you find out that the staffing level is critically dangerous, we know we are working under pressure this time and there's nothing we can do. But if you know that the staffing level for you is critically dangerous and you will not be able to meet up everything, it's as simple as asking for help. The worst come to worst, fill a day text for being short-staffed in staff on that day, because if you fill a day text and anything goes wrong, you have something to prove that, look, I have been overworked and I was not able to do this because I had more patients than I am supposed to and I was not able to meet up the task. And do not worry, nursing care is 24 hours. Always make sure you are handing over to the next patient what you were not able to do. If the person likes, the person can complain, because we know that sometimes when we hand over to nurses, they complain, why didn't you do it? Why? But definitely hand it over. It's always better to hand over than to do it wrongly. So please do not do anything you're not confident in. Need to be registered with RCN or any other nursing body. I am registered with RCN, so that's why I'm speaking about them. There are other ones like Unison. If you feel confident in registering with them, you can use them. But I am registered with RCN. You need this professional body to guide you and help you. Sometimes I just have any issue at my place of work or any of my agency shifts and I just call RCN. They are good. You pay them. I pay them every month, and that's the reason I pay them, to give me advice and to help me if I'm in trouble during my shifts or anything that relates to nursing. So if you're registered with any of these professional bodies, please make sure you are utilizing them. You pay a monthly fee, utilize them, register with them, and they protect you. If you have any court hearings or anything, they can provide you lawyers. They are always helpful, really. You do not even have to have any serious issue to call RCN. You can call them for career advice. Lastly, document. If you did not document, you did not do it. If you did not document, babies, you did not do it. There is no way you tell them you did it when you did not document. So if it means you staying back an extra 10 to 15 minutes to properly document everything that's happened in your shifts, please do it. I've had some hospitals that will call you back that will call you back to come back and document, or they will call you back to sign a medication you did not sign. The truth is, sometimes we give medication without signing, which is wrong, but we are humans and sometimes it happens. They will call you and tell you that you did not give 18 hours medication. Can you come back and sign or come back and give? There are hospitals that can do that, so please make sure you're documenting properly. If it means you stay in a few more minutes to document, please. Especially if you are going there for the first time and you are not even sure you are going to go back there the next day. You don't want to leave a negative impression about you not documenting. So I came, I cared, I chatted. So make sure you are chatting, your documentation is top notch. Realize that no documentation is too much. There's nothing like too much information when it comes to documenting. I'm sure we already know this. Just re-emphasizing on it. There's nothing like too much documentation. There's nothing like too much information. There's nothing like it's not important. It is important. Every tiny bit is important. When you're documenting your normal words, you might just document anything you want to document. But when you are documenting as an agency nurse, please make sure you are giving all the details you need, because you don't want to give them that stress of looking for you or calling you when you are back home to give particular information when you would have easily documented it and save yourself the stress. Try and make sure you are not overworking yourself. Guys, I know agency shifts are loads of money. It has attractive pay, but look after yourself. Take your break. Sometimes cancel your shift. Sometimes do not pick your shift. Sometimes rest. Sometimes travel. Do what you love the most and not always work. There will always be work in the UK. The nursing profession is always short staff. The other day I learned that the number of nursing applications has dropped by a large number of percentage. This will continue to drop because a lot of people do not want to come into nursing anymore, and a lot of people are retiring, a lot of people are leaving the profession. So do not feel that, oh, if I don't work today, then the next day I'm not going to be able to see jobs. There are always loads of jobs. If I turn on my phone, I see loads of notifications. Can you pick this shift today? Can you pick that shift today? Can you? I still need to look after myself, because if I drop dead today, the next 1 minute, you will see other nurses picking up those shifts. So make sure you're looking after yourself. Take self-care very serious. And lastly, make sure you are reflecting on your everyday shift. When you come back from your agency shift, make sure you reflect on that day. What did you do wrongly? What did you do rightly? It's not even only agency shifts, sometimes your regular shifts. Make sure you are reflecting and you will be fine. I hope you find these tips helpful. Let me know in the comment section which of these tips you think will help you the most, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.